And we're live. Welcome back, everybody. I'm T.O. Bogus. I'm your host here at Shift the Journey. What is Shift the Journey? Well, we're at episode 11. If you don't know already, it's where I get to come in here and interview somebody different every week, and just ask them about their journey. Ask them about all the twists and turns. I don't know twists and turns, but twists and turns. And just like really give you an idea. Maybe you're wanting to make a shift of your own. Maybe you don't know how to do it. Like I say every week, we don't have a blueprint, but we can tell you that we have done different things, and your shift can be done. You just sometimes you have to connect with the right people, have the right kinds of conversations. Maybe you just need to hear a story like we have one today. Our special guest today is Mike Priebe, none other than Mike Priebe. Woo! Everybody, round of applause.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mike Priebe he's an account executive. He has worked as a physical therapy assistant. I almost said it wrong. It was like physician's assistant. No, that's wrong.
Not that.
PTA. He was a Nashville-based singer-songwriter. He's got a great voice, awesome vocals. This guy, I've known this guy for years and years and years. Let's say decades. I was telling a buddy at work today, I said, I went to high school with Mike. Like, yeah, went to high school with Mike. Yeah. And one of his kids looks like me. And he was like, I'm sorry, what?
Explain. Okay,
I got some explaining to do. Yeah. So Mike married my sister. So he is my brother-in-law. I actually have 4 brothers-in-law because my wife has 2 brothers, and then I have 2 sisters who married. And so out of these 4 brothers-in-law, only one is not named Michael. It's the weirdest thing.
Keep it easy for you. Make it real easy for you.
But
I don't have any brother-in-laws named Tito.
Yeah, except for me, right?
Right.
All right.
Yeah. No other ones. Yes. Yeah.
No others. Yeah. All right. So why don't let's start off by just giving people a background. Where are you from originally? Where are you based now? And just talk a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, we'll dig into it. First of all, I'd like to say I'm happy that I'm on your episode number 11 because Julio Jones. So is your boy number 11 from the Falcons. I don't even know if he still plays.
No, I don't know. I think he's retired.
Yeah,
played for the Eagles for the playoffs last year.
Oh, did he? Yeah. So when I saw 11, I'm like, that's Julio Jones' number. That's Tito's one of his faves.
That's right.
But born and raised Southern California, kind of the Los Angeles County. It's the easternmost Los Angeles County. And when I met you, Tito, we would drive. My brother and I would drive from Pomona to Riverside, is where you and I would go to school. Met you, your whole family. Was in the sports in high school and singing too, kind of blossoming in both of those in the high school years. Sang for a long time growing up as a little kid in a small church. And then after high school, went to Loma Linda University to study physical therapy. And it was a neat mix. Physical therapy, I'm so thankful that my mom kind of steered me in that direction because I was interested in the sciences, then also athletics. And so it really made sense to kind of put those together. And it's been a really good career for me for a long time. Last year was my 30th year in healthcare.
Oh my gosh, you're so old.
I know, it's crazy. It's not great. I was the youngest one in my PTA class though, so that helps a little bit. They called me Doogie Howser. Not because I was a genius, just because I was really young.
There are people out there probably watching right now who don't know who Doogie Howser is.
I know. I know. Don't need to Google it. Don't need to explain. But had the great opportunity to teach at Loma Linda for a couple of years, the gross anatomy lab, which was I just absolutely loved it. Matter of fact, one of my biggest faith builders. I'm a Christ follower, and to see the human body like that and to teach it, we had I don't remember how many cadavers we had, but I know I get it. A lot of people would be really grossed out about it. It's a special, it's a unique thing. But for me, because I love the sciences and I love to see how it all worked and all fit together, like to go from one body to the next body to the next body and go, I just don't see how this could all just fall together. All these systems working together at one time,
Right.
just fascinated. It just fascinated me. Still fascinates me. I would teach gross anatomy again if the opportunity came about. So
Wow.
did that, and also got to teach a therapeutic exercise course, and then went on into healthcare from there, and had some life changes shortly after getting into the healthcare world. And at that point in time, I had music kind of on the back burner, and things changed a little bit in life, and it gave me the opportunity to pursue music full time. And that was wild, man. That was a wild ride and really fun. And
Yeah, I came across recently, like last year when we thought we were moving. We were
mhm,
going through all these different things, and I came across there's a picture in a you know how like you have like a 3-ring binder and then you have those clear sleeves,
mhm.
and it was a picture in there, and it was you, and then like I had the platinum blonde,
The
really
platinum,
short hair, yeah,
yeah,
and it was like, who? Wow, wait, when was this? Oh my
yeah. And
gosh!
you may need to explain who Ott is.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's my
All right.
oldest sister. I'm Filipino, and so we have titles for like ages. So I don't feel comfortable just calling her by her name because that's not the way I was raised. And so her name to me, since she's my oldest sister, I call her Ate, but short is At. So
Ott.
Nanette Owens, she's out
Yeah,
there. At.
yeah. So it was really cool, man, how it all worked out. That, I mean, could go on the road. Well, before that, even that's so how I reconnected with your sister, who would then become my wife. I was
Not At.
not
That's
Ott.
the other sister.
Yes. Thanks for clarifying. Yeah, you're gonna get confusing. The younger sister,
Yeah.
uh, Nacelle is her name, and she was always so artsy, graphic design stuff. So I reached out to her because I needed a demo cassette done.
Oh,
This would have been in 96 or so, 97, something like that, 96. And I also needed somebody to do the photography. So she was like the whole package. She could do the photos, put it together for a demo cassette tape, all the artsy, the layout of the J card and all that stuff. She went on to design my first album that I did with my band Common Creed in 96. And then
oh my goodness.
she did my album, my first solo album called Where Would I Be? That was, we started that in 98. I think we finished it in 2000. Took a while to do it, but so she did all the art, the graphic design for that project. And yeah, and then, going on the road, Nanette was available to play. Nacelle plays violin, percussion, background vocals, and just had some other of our childhood friends that were part of that band. Had a couple different,
Oh, Don was in there too, right? He played bass.
Don Torres, just groove master, played
Yeah.
bass. A couple different drummers that would kind of alternate in and out. Had a different pool. Just kind of just depended on who was available to do the gig, But if we had a string of them, like we went on the road with your sisters and Don and some of the other musicians, and man, it was just a blast, just so adventurous, and that lit something up inside of me, like just go for it. So I don't know, it's crazy to do it, but before that, I was working in a clinic in Upland, California, called Pollock Physical Therapy. Absolutely loved my time there. Outpatient orthopedic clinic. And my boss, Gary, called me in one day because I was doing, at this point, I weaned down to like 3 days a week at the clinic so I could do the music stuff on the other days.
Oh, wow.
And he said, "Hey, Mike, we need you to either go full time or we're going to have to let you go because in our clinic it's just not working well, because you have patients that would come in on off days and then it wouldn't be consistent for them." So
Right.
just prior to that, like the weekend before that, I had a heart to heart with God. I'm like, I want to be used by you. I was on a camping trip with your family up in outside of Clovis or something.
Yeah.
Central Northern California. And I said, "Lord, I just want to be used by you. So close doors and open other ones. Help me out. Like just do whatever you need to do." And then that next week, Gary calls me in the office and says, we got to make a change. Like, we got to let you go, or you can go full time. And it was just a peaceful decision to me.
Oh, wow.
Typically you go, well, let me go home and pray about it. But I just prayed the week before
Right.
to close the door. And I just felt like it was a beautiful door closing. Like, all right, here we go. Like, I felt like I was at the end of the pool saying, I'm going to dive in, but I need somebody to push me in. So I'm ready. Here I am. And I needed that nudge. And that just kind of opened the doors to a full-time music ministry career.
So in that time, were you thinking about moving to Nashville at that time, or was it like, oh, I'm gonna go all in, but we're gonna tour around California?
Yeah, we were just totally California based. Nashville wasn't even. Well, yeah, Jimmy Mack was my producer then, and he and I came out here to Nashville in '97 for the Dove Awards. If you ever heard of the Dove Awards, it's the Christian Music Awards, and the week before the awards, they have courses and different concerts. It's really, really cool. We enjoyed it quite a bit back then. So we came out here. We were Nashville was so different. I mean, it was so different in '97. I like everything, like every city, they changed so much. But back then, just even finding a hotel for us was so hard. But it was fun. Like, we were north of Nashville in some kind of not a good area, but that's where we penned one of the first songs I ever co-wrote was a song called "No Giants," and we wrote that here in '97 in Nashville.
Were you like Brick Church Pike? I don't know.
Yeah, I forget. I don't even know how to tell you. Like, yeah, heading north out of town, like heading up to where you used to live.
Yeah,
on that side, and before you get totally out of Nashville, there was a hotel there.
Oh, wow!
But so that put Nashville on the map for me. And then when we did a road trip, we came through Nashville, got to sing at the Bluebird Cafe. If anybody's familiar with the Bluebird in Nashville.
Why did I not know this?
Yeah,
are you serious?
Yeah, we did a gig at the Bluebird. Nanette, me, and I apologize. I think maybe Don played. I think Don played too. Nanette, you can talk. You can put it in the chat. Nanette,
do you have pictures? Do you have?
No.
Did somebody have a camcorder? Because I know we didn't have cell phones like with the camera.
No, nothing to prove that we were there. But the Bluebird's interesting because that's where it's like singer-songwriter place. We didn't know much about it, but we heard like, man, if you could play at the Bluebird, that's like the place to play. So, and it's usually they just draw your name out of a hat.
Oh, wow.
And they pick your name and you can go up and play. Oh. And we're like, well, we're only going to be there one night. So, thanks, Nanette. Don did play. So you, me, and Don, I think it was just the three of us. I think we did 2 songs. Nanette might remember better. But I called them before we went out. Like, I don't know, might have been a couple weeks before we went out. And I talked to a really sweet lady there. And I said, hey, we're just coming through town. Would love to play if we could. And she said, I'll tell you what, I'll make it happen for you. I will pull your name out of the hat. And she did. And it was so cool. She didn't know us, man. There's so many good people out there. So many good people out there. So we had the opportunity it's just cool to say that we played there. I mean, maybe it wasn't one of our best I don't even know. I don't know. I think we were all so nervous that we were playing at the Bluebird. But that was a cool highlight. So yeah, Nashville was on my radar, but never, I don't know, that wasn't a huge aspiration to move to Nashville. But as things progressed, after the first album came out, started working on the second album called Stepping Out, and then gigging more, getting out more. Nashville's really tends to be the place to be. You don't have to be here to do the Christian music thing. There's others that have done it really well outside of here, you know. But we did kill it. In our mind, we did. Yeah, they did they really did. We got some great feedback that night.
Oh, that's good.
That was really, really cool. So yeah, we ended up moving out here. I don't know. Nacelle and I got married in 2001, and we moved out here in 2002, which was really interesting. I was still finishing up my Stepping Out album in 2002 when we moved here, and it was funny. We got out here, still flying back and forth to California to finish the album. So we were doing it there. Had great musicians on the album. Just met a lot of just killer musicians. It's real fun. But I got out here, things started kind of changing in my world. Like, not bad, just like, I just don't know if I want to be in the music industry. I just don't know if I want to do it anymore. It's hard. You're tooting your own horn. You're just trying to get gigs. Something that kind of opened me up is that one of my songs did really well, a song called Where Would I Be on my first album, title track, Where Would I Be?
Right.
I was independent. I wasn't signed to a label. Came really close to signing to Word Records years ago. It just didn't seem right. I got an offer and it just didn't feel right, so it didn't do it. But Where Would I Be was taken off. Generally speaking, as for an independent artist, it was climbing up in Illinois, Indiana.
Is that the one, Rockford, Illinois?
Rockford, Illinois is where it hit.
Did they name a street after you?
They should have. I don't think they did. But there is nothing like, we were all driving around. We were driving in the van. We had this big Ford Econoline van, and we were driving in Rockville, and we heard the song on the radio. Like, I mean, that is one of the ultimate, most biggest highs. Like, whoa, that was so cool. We got to open up for Audio Adrenaline while we were up there. And then we
Audio A, get out of here. That's so cool.
Guys. Open up for some other guys too, because we went back there a couple times. But it's just strange, dude, because I thought, okay, it went to number one. I got knocked out of the number one spot there in Rockford anyways by a song called I Could Only Imagine.
Oh,
Mercy
I can only imagine why.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm like, if I'm going to get knocked out by off the number one by a song, that's a cool song to get knocked out by. And I just kind of thought like the floodgates would open up. Like, I got a number one hit now. Like, people are going to be calling me. It helped to get some gigs. It helped, but you were still grinding it out, like trying to just get more gigs and get more gigs. And it's so fun. Met great people, but to keep that moving forward was hard. So, I mean, thankfully I had the physical therapy degree to fall back onto, and I'd go home, work for a string of weeks, and then go back. And I'd be doing gigs on the weekends too, Saturdays and Sundays, doing different church gigs and stuff.
I mean, that's the grind, right? You know, we know so many people, you know, having lived in Nashville, I lived there for 5 years also. But like, you know, knew so many people when I lived there who were like, oh yeah, you know, I'm working on this, I'm working on that, you know, we're going touring here, touring there, but then they had like a day job.
Yeah.
Because it was hard. It was really hard.
I met some of the greatest musicians. I mean, killer musicians that once the tour ended, they were like, now what do I do? Like, try to find another gig or some kind of day job thing to stay afloat. Like, whoa, it really opened my eyes to the industry.
So did you find it was more competitive in Nashville than Southern California?
Yeah, I think hindsight, if we would have stayed in Southern California and kept doing what we were doing, who knows? Have no idea.
Yeah.
But probably would have been better, because we'd cruise up and down the coast, Northern California, Central California, go up into Washington, Oregon, cruise over maybe Idaho, Arizona. We did a lot of gigs in Arizona, Phoenix, Gilbert area. Did really well. We could have probably kind of kept doing a circuit there. Like, was it Switchfoot's based out of Orange County? You know, they're doing all right.
Yeah. Just a little.
Yeah.
Right?
Crystal Lewis, one of my other favorite Christian vocalists, Crystal Lewis, is based out of Orange County as well.
Oh,
just
I didn't
fine.
know that.
Yeah. So it would have been doable. But at the same time, we were at a place, you know, the show is called The Shift. And I mean, your sister and I, Nacelle, we were ready to make a big change, a big shift. We just wanted to get out of California. We wanted something totally different. And so we headed east for just a big life change.
Yeah. And you know, it was right on time, because, you know, I was stationed in Georgia, and we would go up there probably two weekends a month for a while. We were there for a while.
Yeah.
And we got to spend a lot of time, you know, with the folks. Angela got to, you know, intern in Mom's Kitchen.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, the kids got to, you know, grow up around their Lolo and Lola. So that was pretty good, you know, really timely, I thought.
And we had no idea that your folks were wanting to move. When we decided to move out, they're like, we'll go too. And then Nanette's like, yeah, I'll go too. Like, yeah. I mean, it couldn't have, that was pretty sweet. Couldn't have turned out any better. And then when we had kids, it was like, oh man, to have family nearby like that. Huge.
Definitely.
Like, absolutely huge. So
definitely. So when you started to like really feel the grind of like the music industry and like trying to make ends meet and all that, what made you want to shift like right back into PTA stuff and like get away from the music?
Yeah, there's something a couple of things, I guess. The healthcare for me had been super consistent over all the years. I mean, I never had any dips. In therapy school, they talked about this 7-year cycle where jobs would be plentiful, and then they dip in 7 years. And I never saw it. I mean, there's basically, say you have a therapy license and a pulse. Like, yeah, we'll take you. Like there's always work, almost always, until we tried to move to Asheville, North Carolina, and we couldn't find anything. Like, okay, this is interesting.
Oh,
Maybe
wow.
God doesn't want us to go to Asheville, North Carolina. But yeah, something about that. I knew I could still do music on weekends, but doing it full time, I think there's something where it was based around my voice. So if something happened to my voice, all my family or friends that were in the band would lose the gig. There's a pressure about it, you know,
Yeah.
like, and I just got tired of honking my own horn, all the pictures, you know, and people do it all the time and do it just fine.
Yeah.
But for me, it was just like, I'm just tired of seeing my face on everything. And as much as, you know, we're trying to glorify God through it all, obviously,
Yeah.
there's still this internal battle and tension of how do I promote me and my music while I'm trying to glorify God. And like I said, people do it very well all the time. But for me, it was a struggle. And then just to keep it consistent and then go out on the road a lot. I mean, I was kind of turning out to being, it was fun while it lasted. I don't know if I want to, like, looking at the big picture. Do I want to keep doing that? Do I want to keep traveling? Could be fun. Has its pros, has its cons, you know?
Yeah.
So, the other side is I just love physical therapy. I love the field. And so it worked really well. And so it was easy to kind of just fall back into that. So that was kind of how it all pieced together.
So like, were you like, refresh my memory? I don't remember. It was like 20 years ago, right? When you decided to go from, you know, from music back like full time into the medical field, were you working a little bit and then you're like, hey, can I, you know, get more full-time hours, or what was the approach there?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think moving out here forced that hand, I think, because I was looking for a traveling therapy assignment. In healthcare, you have these traveling assignments. Nurses get them all the time. They're like 3-month assignments, and then you can go somewhere else for 3 months. It's pretty cool. But I was looking for a job. Nacelle and I were moving across the country, and I had nothing lined up in Nashville yet. I was like, oof,
Wow.
I mean, that's where my first album, the second album title came out of was Stepping Out in Faith. Like, we're stepping out. We're literally leaving California. Don't know where we're going. And like I said before, usually therapy jobs for me are like easy, find them real quick. But I got a call when we were somehow going through New Mexico that I got a traveling assignment outside of Nashville. It was like 2 hours west of Nashville in Lexington, Tennessee. Not Lexington, Kentucky, but Lexington, Tennessee. I'm like, all right, we'll take it.
That's why I thought you guys had lived in Kentucky for a little bit.
Yes. It was Lexington, Tennessee.
Okay.
Just outside of Jackson, Tennessee.
I got you, yeah.
So that was a 3-month assignment. So that probably forced it because that was a full-time gig. So I had to work. I had to do the full-time thing that way while I was still writing. I was writing songs while I was driving all over Western Tennessee. I was like, what did we just do? But had some good times with the Lord driving all over part of the country I'd never been in before. And then Nacelle was driving here to Nashville on the weekends looking for a house for us. Interesting 3 months. There's lots of different stories just in that 3-month time period, but finished up the album, still did lots of concerts to promote the album and stuff. But I knew at that point in time, like, oh boy, I think I want out of the music industry. Still want to sing. Still, I don't know what that's going to look like. Still want to use that skill and that gift, but full time wasn't it. So it's turned into, doing a lot with local church or a few churches around the area, being part of the worship team or being a worship leader.
Yeah, we need to schedule you guys to come down.
Yeah,
Bayou Church.
Let's do it. Yeah. By all means.
Yeah.
So
then, I remember like a few years back. It was more than a few years because you guys were still in the Smyrna house. I remember you were doing some like woodworking stuff. Were you not doing like woodworking stuff with like
I tell you what.
doing like frames or like
Yeah,
it was cool looking stuff?
yeah, it's called Seven Oaks Frameworks. I had this idea
That's right.
that, as with Nacelle being an artist, she's really opened my eyes to a lot of different aspects of art. Really, it's been really, really cool. As we've looked at art over the years, and she's kind of taught me about different pieces of art, I started looking at the frames. I'm like, why is the frame just seems to be such an afterthought a lot of times? Now, people
Right.
might argue that, but so why don't we make a frame that's like big, like a big piece? That's part of the art as well. So like you'd have a picture maybe that was, let's say the picture was, let's go with 8.5 by 11. We never did anything that small, but then had a frame that was like 3 feet by 2 feet, like huge with pretty wood with some inlays. Love the idea. Again, we got Nacelle, one of my graphic designer pros, on top of that, and launched it. I started raising parakeets when I was a little kid. That was my first entrepreneurial thing that just kind of sparked my interest about business. So, and it was just fun. And so I've never been like scared to try to start something. And with that comes failing at it. And that's okay. I mean, I could beat myself up and I could think, well, what are other people thinking? There goes Mike starting a business again. And it flops. Different variables. But it's still fun. The process is still really fun, and I'm still going to grow and learn. And we know when you fail at anything, it's a learning opportunity. Like, oh, what did I learn from that? How did I grow?
Yeah.
I've grown a lot with all the different, if you want to call them failures, but learning experiences. So
Yeah. So what other types of like small business things have you done?
Well, about 2 years ago, I
I remember
launched.
you bought some massage chairs.
Yeah, I've had this idea for a long time, and so it morphed into this. But back in my clinic in Upland, California, is an outpatient orthopedic clinic. We would set people up on hot pads, just moist heat on their back, prop their legs up, maybe put some electrical stim on their low back or their neck, and we'd close the door, set the timer for 20 minutes. And they were like typically in pitch black, and they loved it. Yes, they just they absolutely loved it.
As soon as you close the door,
I'm
out.
So I'd come in, to take them off of that, and they're so often, can you just give me 10 more minutes? Can you put 15 more minutes? If we weren't slammed, yeah, sure, I'll give you a few more minutes. There was something about that. I went, how can I just set that up for more people to where I can take that to them, take that to the workplace? So it morphed. I had all kinds of different ideas for it, but it morphed into taking high-end luxury massage chairs that you sit in that do all, almost feels like there's hands on you, but not, to the workplace to improve workplace wellness. We were talking before the call, the stress of work can just like beat you up. It can chew you up and spit you out. It's just the way the world just is kind of just feels like it just ratchets it up. The speed they want everything done and how much and efficiencies and everything. I thought this could help workplace wellness. Take a boss can't pay for 50 employees to have massages. I mean, that's crazy expensive unless you're really rolling in the dough, but talking $100 a pop for a massage, 80 to $100. So why don't we take a chair in there, create an environment with white noise, with plants like the one behind me, just create this cool little spa environment in the workplace. It hangs out there for a couple days or a week. Then we move it somewhere else. It was great, but I was still trying to do my full-time physical therapy job at the same time. In the middle of that, I got hit with some crazy anxiety that I'd never had before, that had all kinds of physical ramifications and symptoms. But it was still okay. I was still making it work. I still wanted to get it going and really excited about it. And then another shift happened where I was approached by another home health agency. I've been doing home health now for 15 years or so, give or take. I was approached by a former colleague, asked me if I would consider being a marketer for their home health agency. And I was like, okay, let's talk. Let's discuss. And so we had some good discussions, went through the whole interview process. And then one of my dear friends, Patricia Burns, who's with Adoration Home Health, the company I've been with since we started 9 years ago.
Mhm.
I thank her for this often. She called me and said, "Hey, I hear you're talking to about something else, like with a different company." I'm like, "Oh, word travels quick." No, not at all. Yeah. Yeah, and she was sweet. She said, "But we can make room for you here to do that." I was like, "Okay, well, let's talk about that." I was ready, just ready for a shift, because
Yeah.
last year was 30 years doing as a PTA in healthcare, and I feel like I'm a great clinician. I've learned a lot over the years. It's comes easy to me.
Mhm.
I do well at it, but I just felt like internally, like I need to push myself again. Like I
Right.
need to push.
Yeah.
I could have hit cruise control, man. I could have, and just stayed in. And who knows? Maybe I'll fall back and do some more therapy work. And I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
But at that time in my life, actually, it was kind of rumbling for several years. Like, what can I do different? Enjoy therapy, but I just wanted to stretch myself. My brain was almost kind of getting numb because I was just doing the same thing
Yeah.
over and
Yeah.
over, and all kinds of really unique sicknesses and diseases, post-operative things. But I've seen a lot of it already, and it's just kind of, all right, I need something else. So
Yeah.
I was excited about this opportunity to do this because I knew it would stretch my brain in a new way. It would challenge me in different ways, still in the same field of healthcare and specifically home health. But boy, it has done that. It's stretched me a whole lot. First few months, I was like, what did I get myself into? But it's been really good. I've been successful at it. Man, it's crazy how time flies, but we're going on almost a year already in this new role as an account executive. Different names for it: account executive, patient liaison, marketer, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Salesman.
Sales. Yeah, I try to stay
Yeah.
away from that.
It was like, oh, I gotta go
I
wash
know.
my hands.
Yeah. I've learned we're all in sales, whatever we're in.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever we're in,
Right.
we're all in sales.
Yeah.
But this
So
one is a little more blatant.
yeah. So do you feel like the experiences you've had as a PTA, does that help you as an account executive? I call them AEs. I know
AEs. Yeah, that's what we call.
yeah,
Yeah, we
AEs.
call them
So
that too.
do you feel like you're able to use some of that, experience and, turn it to help you in your current role?
Yeah, it's a great question. It does help quite a bit, especially in certain settings. So I worked in assisted living facilities, or they're called senior living centers, uh, for several years as a PTA. And so one of the target markets they wanted me to focus on was senior living centers. So I feel super comfortable in those settings as I worked in them for so long.
Mhm.
And then when, some of what we call our referral sources, the people that are signing the orders within those assisted living facilities, once I got to know them and build trust with them, and they knew that, oh, this guy's not just the sales guy, he's been in the field for a long time and
Yeah.
speaks our language. That
Yeah.
has certainly helped a whole lot. Now, if I go into a doctor's office, they don't know me from Adam, it's hard to have that conversation and even get
Yeah.
there. I try, but to build their
Yeah.
trust, to know that I understand kind of both sides of it.
Oh,
So it
yeah.
has helped. Yeah, generally speaking,
Yeah.
it's helped quite a bit.
I often talk to people about stuff like this because I talk with people a lot who are shifting from another career into data, right? And like data, generally speaking, there's so many like data paths, job titles, all the different things. But what some people have a hard time with and are afraid that, they're afraid that like, oh, I've worked in some other industry doing something else for so many years, and what this thing I'm going into is brand new. Am I even going to be able to use that stuff? Yeah, absolutely, you will. I promise you, you
Yeah.
will. One of the best data analysts I ever worked with was a guy named Ahmad Watkins. Hey, if you're
Mm-hmm.
out there, Ahmad, what's up, man? But he was like the senior analyst on the team I was at, working in insurance, and he had been there for like 9 years. He was an adjuster. He worked at like all different things in an insurance company. So you could ask him anything about insurance and he knew it, and there were things about the software that he didn't know, but that didn't mean that he wasn't an expert, because he was, because you just ask him something about insurance. I learned more about insurance in my first probably 3 months at that job,
Mm.
because of Ahmad. And
Yeah.
so, when people, I think it's important to remember that if you're, shifting from one job to another or from one industry to another, totally different position,
Yeah.
everything that you have experienced in your past is usable. It is transferable. All of it is.
It is.
You just have to be able to frame it so
Mhm.
that people in your new position know what in the world you're talking about.
Yeah.
Also, ex-military, trying to explain what I did in the military, people are like eyes glazed over, and they're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, whatever. So, you gotta dumb it down, really. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I could see it now. The skills I've learned already in the last 10 months, how it could translate over to something else is pretty fascinating. Part of it dealing with people, interacting with people, being a leader, working on the culture of the company. And
yeah.
it's interesting because as a therapist, the gigs came to me. I just had to make sure I took care of them, make sure I treated the patient well, that they liked me, they trusted me. It was all right. But now it's like I'm having to, the pressure on me is to get the referrals so that my friends, the clinicians, have enough work.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, when I first started, man, that pressure, if I thought about it too much, I did. And I lost a lot of sleep over it. Like,
Yeah.
how is this going to work? Like, sure, I know some people in the industry, but I don't know enough of them to create that many
Oh,
referrals.
yeah.
But the skills that I've learned of just communicating, man, I've thought for years, I've told people for years, I'm not good with names. I'm just not good with names. Boy, when you got to remember people's names, because these are like, oh, hey, I'm remembering a lot of names now.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like forced to.
Listen, we had this
depends on it.
conversation. We had this conversation so many times. Like when I was on staff here at Gulf Coast, and I would make the worship team members sing without the words in front of their face.
Yeah.
It's like, don't do it, because you're looking at the paper. Don't
Yeah.
do it. And you were like, I can't remember it. But then I just start singing a song and you know all the words, right?
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's
Right?
crazy. It's just,
it's like, it's time and repetition. And so, yeah, I'm terrible with names too. But if I want to remember somebody's name, what I do is, like, I try to remember something that we talked about, something that maybe it's something we had in common or something like that. And often that helps me. Other times, like, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, homie.
Yeah, homie. Bro, dude.
Like, homie doesn't work a lot in the workplace, right?
Yeah, it does. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah. Another skill set though now is, like, I call myself the fireman sometimes, because it seems like there's more fires to put out when you're dealing with a lot of different people and all the different referral sources that are, like, they have expectations and they're dealing with sick people and with needs. And like, man, before, like with Nanette, Nacelle, Dawn, the band, like, we had control over that. So we could control that to a certain extent. We could get the outcomes we wanted because we could rehearse enough. We knew where we were going. We knew where we were moving with this. Now, as a leader in this role, man, the band is we're not all tight. Like, they're all out in the field, maybe not all on the exact same page. And, like, if somebody hits the wrong chord, if per se, like, okay,
and then everybody knows about it.
Yeah. Like, okay, how do I deal with it? But I learned my first week in this new role. I went out with a good friend of mine, Alex Miller, who's with Adoration, one of our marketing guys, been one of our directors for a long time. We went into a building which has turned into be my best building now. But by walking into it, a girl named Rachel, one of the therapists there, she didn't know me, but I was just introducing myself as the new AE for this building, for this territory. She was like, Miss so-and-so, you need to talk to the nurse because Miss so-and-so, one of your patients is having a terrible time with her wound. Blah, 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 blah. Like it was like not good. Like
Oh no.
we had to fix an issue. Like
Oh,
whatever
no.
the issue was, we don't need to go into specifics. It was like, there's an issue, whether it's a big issue or not, they think it's a big issue. And it was a big one. It's like, but I learned from Alex, he's like, okay, yeah, let's get what's going on. And so we stepped out and then we called one of the other powers that be that dealt with that, the staff there. And it's like, okay, what can we do to make this work? And what do we need to do? And so just that we addressed it in a calm fashion.
Yeah.
That we went back and we actually cared to, instead of just going back with like, oh yeah, like you guys are the problem.
Yeah. Pretty sure there's something in Proverbs about that.
Right? Yeah, certainly. So, and I learned that a lot from being a clinician because we'd come across patients that just for one reason or another were not happy. I could always tell like, okay, this person just wants to argue. They just want to fight. And then when they realized that I wouldn't come back wanting to argue with them and fight, like with just a different demeanor, you could just see them kind of melt and like, oh, this guy doesn't want to play. He doesn't want to play this game. And they could turn out to be a good friend, and we'd enjoy our time together over the weeks and months. So that same approach with when there's ever a fire, with an issue, which is going to be especially in healthcare and dealing with people.
Yeah.
How do we resolve this? How can we use this opportunity for them to build trust in me? I can build trust in them. Part of it is using these things here just to listen and understand what their needs are and what their expectations are and respond accordingly.
Yeah. I think sometimes with what gets lost in, the grind of the work, the workplace is that everything is built off relationships.
Mm-hmm.
It's relationships and trust and communication. If you don't have like trust or you don't have communication, your relationship is broken, right?
Dude,
You gotta have them all.
Yeah.
I've had experiences where I was the guilty party, lost my temper or didn't communicate well. And it's like, oh, I see how from their side, this would be terrible. This person's not responding or this person's not responding like they need to respond. We have obligations. And so, definitely relationships.
I've trained clinicians over the years and I've said, if you can just communicate well, and I don't mean you have to be eloquent, just communicate with your patient. This is as a PTA. If you can just communicate, call them, tell them when you're going to be there. If you're running late, just call them and let them know. Hey, Miss Jones, I'm running a little late, but I'm on my way. They love that because they're not left out in the dark. They're not wondering. They're not then they're going to call the office like, where's Mike? He hasn't called. Simple little cheap, easy little things to communicate have such a big return on investment. And I'm learning it's the same thing in this role as an AE now. Just communicate well, respond. Most people want responses. That's the hard part. Most people want responses right away.
Yeah.
And some of it would, because of the nature of the industry, is they need answers right away. Like, we're trying to discharge this patient home. We need to know if you guys can accept them because they need such and such. Like, there's oftentimes, Nacelle will tell you that I have to stop whatever I'm doing to figure out a situation to get this doctor, nurse, social worker the answer they need right away.
And sometimes in situations, it's not that you have the answer right away, but it's acknowledging that you received the message.
Yes.
So then like, otherwise they just keep spinning up. They're not answering. So if you just say, hey, I got your message and just, whatever. And then like, I'll work on it and then I'll keep you updated. Something like that. Then that gives people a peace of mind.
Yep. I got one this week. What's today? No, last week. Got an email.
It's Monday today.
It's Monday. It wasn't this week. It was last week. But, got an all caps email like, what's going on, just from a rehab facility.
Why are you yelling?
Yeah. Can we not do the all caps, please?
Yeah.
But just responded, looking into it. I'll get back to you soon. And just, I mean, they know, so they're not wondering, like you said, because who knows then what goes on in their mind, like all kinds of different stories.
Did you not get my message?
Right.
And then they send you like a string or like CC your boss.
Yeah.
What the passive aggressive, sir or ma'am,
Yeah.
I just, you know,
Yeah, right.
it's like, oh, I
Right.
didn't even have you even given time to reply. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, that's what we try. It's trying to build myself up as the trusted source that can help them.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm going to call Mike because he's going to give me the answers. He's going to work. I know he's going to work on it. I got a call when we were in South Carolina a couple weeks ago, checking out a university for our daughter, Nora. Got a call on Saturday.
Wait a minute.
I know.
No.
Let's not talk about it.
No.
I know. Just ain't right.
Don't talk about university.
I know.
For my niece. That's,
I know.
What?
She's a junior, so she's still got another year. So we got time. But
how?
I know it went really well. Beautiful school in Anderson, South Carolina. So it's high on the list. But
cool.
Got a call with from an assisted living facility with it was a 911 from them. Like, what is going on? We're going to either send this patient to the emergency room if your nurse doesn't come out. Like, we haven't heard back. Again, back to communication. We haven't heard. So they're like getting really worried.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So we were getting ready to go out to dinner. Like, it's so hard, dude, because you read books like Boundaries. Like,
yes.
And like, okay, I know there's boundaries, but I still think you can set these boundaries. But in this particular role, when we're dealing with sick humans, it's like, okay, I do need to take care of this. Like, and so just calling them right back. What's going on? I sent a message to so-and-so. Boom. The nurse ended up going out. But I'm thankful. I look at these opportunities as just ways to build trust. So call me.
In that situation, where was the communication more important, toward the client or toward the wife?
It's a good one. It was a nurse that was calling me from an assisted living facility.
Yeah.
I think in talking to her on the phone, which is my demeanor, I could tell she was already calming down, especially since she knew that there was a nurse on the way already. Okay, there's a nurse coming out now.
Yeah.
Which doesn't always work that way, but that certainly helped. And then my nurse came out and did a great job. That's really good too, and helped smooth things over. But just all around, I mean, there's ways that I didn't need to get that call. Could have been taken care of other ways, But that's all right. And that's what I'm one of the faces, because I'm out in the community all the time, and so I'm one of the faces of adoration, and so they'll call me to get answers, and I'm totally cool with that.
That's cool, man. Yeah. So here's one question for you. We've gone almost, like, it's been more than 45 minutes just talking about your journey. I think it's pretty interesting, pretty exciting things that are going on right now. If there's anything that you're involved in, like whether it's work or not, that's like unique or interesting, would you mind sharing that?
Unique or interest? Well, there's a couple that come to mind. Of course, we've talked about music already, and that seems to be unique and interesting to a lot of people, and it is to us. You and I, and our family have spent so much time with music, and not everybody can say that. It's a unique, really beautiful way to bring the family together and make a lot of memories and bless other people with it. So between us and the siblings, we've recorded some fun songs together, even from afar. It's been really neat. So that's probably the most obvious one, but I think unique. Another one that you and I both share, though, is the unique hobby of fly fishing, which
we
don't do don't do nearly as much as we want to.
No,
man, when I was, it's a beautiful sport. It's quiet. It can be frustrating, but it's some life lessons in those tangles when you get your line all tangled up,
or in your back cast.
Yeah, you get hung up in the trees behind you, but it's just it can be a peaceful sport, but beautiful and unique. And man, coming back from South Carolina, we went through Helen, Georgia, Georgia.
North Georgia is beautiful,
dude. I've never been. I've skirted around, but I've never been through.
pretty sure you got to have like a smaller weight rod because the you're not gonna have like room like on Caney where you're like casting and you got the big back cast. A lot of roll casting, a lot of smaller streams.
This is which is what I learned on in California growing up, just outside of Big Bear, Arrowhead on those creeks. You're just throwing. There's shrubbery everywhere. Yeah, so you're just kind of dipping stuff in.
Oh, but Tenkara would work there then.
The Tenkara would work, but coming along the Ocoee, coming back, that was more wide and rocky. I was like, I want to fish this so bad.
Wait! You didn't bring your fly rod with you?
It wasn't part of the equation.
Oh, I would have said, I know this is for you, Nora. I know we're looking at a college campus. But we are driving by this majestic stream, or this majestic river.
I don't think I knew how much water was up there in North Georgia and how many pretty streams, because I would have taken, probably would have taken. I don't know. I don't know if time would have even allowed it, but I now definitely want to make a trip back up there and spend the weekend up there.
Do it.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
Man.
You get Ned out there too.
Yeah, some pretty waters. So
I was thinking for this call. That we should do a duet.
Can we do that in real time on this? I don't know if that.
No way, man. I've seen people do that like on social media where like somebody on this side has a beat and the other guy's rapping and he sounds like it's awful. He's offbeat.
Like, ooh, they're doing something really creative there. Like that must be some crazy jazz stuff.
Yeah. Creative is in really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, let's not attempt that.
No, but so for everybody who doesn't know, Mike sang at my retirement when I retired from the Air Force. So it was crazy because like that whole, probably the year leading up to that, I sang the national anthem at like all these like retirement ceremonies, promotion ceremonies, all these things, right? Change of command ceremony. I was on TV in Biloxi, right?
Yeah.
It was like, it was like probably 10 seconds of me singing, and the Rockets on like the local news. Somebody shot me a message on Facebook. I was like, oh, really?
I remember that. Yeah.
But and so like my commander when I was retiring, Colonel Mack, he's like, so who are you gonna get to sing at your retirement? And I was like, oh, that's easy. I said, I'm gonna sing. And he's like, okay, I've never seen that. I was like, I'm just joking.
First time for everything.
My brother-in-law is going to sing. He's like, oh, okay. And I said, he said, can he sing? And I was like, yeah, when he sings, you're going to forget that I ever sang the national anthem.
Oh,
and like, I remember standing up there and you started singing and like, we're standing at attention. Colonel Mack didn't turn his face, but like, he's like this. And then we locked eyes. He's like, it was so funny.
Oh, that's cool, man. I don't think you ever told me that story.
Yeah. I really just wanted to tell you that in front of like all these different people. So
yeah, it's a blessing to be able to do that.
You don't know.
Yeah. It's been a blessing. I'm just so thankful. It's what as a kid, I was super shy. I didn't want to talk in front of anybody, but somehow singing worked. And even early on, my voice still was shaky, but it was such an incredible outlet for me to do it. And I, for some reason, kept doing it. Had a great teacher back in the day, Gladys Satompool, who pulled me out of the choir to teach. And she was my. I
thought you were going to say she pulled me out of the gutter.
Yeah. No, she helped keep me out of the gutter.
Yeah.
Sweet lady. But so thankful for how that all turned out over all these years. And I still love to sing, and I'll still sing in some assisted living facilities. Well, I'll do exercise classes and finish with a song or something like that. And
fun.
It is fun. It's fun to still be able to use it in a different way.
I haven't done any singing at work lately.
Yeah.
But singing in my off time. But you see my guitar right there, right?
Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Yes. Love it. That's right.
Yeah.
It's good, man.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and end the stream. I really appreciate you joining me. I knew like when I sent the text, I was like, they're probably going to say no. Mike, we're coming for you next.
Yeah, right. Well, hey, back to being stretched. I'm I'm a sucker for being stretched. You know, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't probably want to do this, but I know I'm gonna benefit from stretching myself to be
Yeah.
a part of it. So thank you for the opportunity to do it,
Yeah.
Tito.
I feel like you're a better podcast host today than I was. No, I'm joking. But yeah, no, but I appreciate it, and I'm sure that somebody who heard your story would be encouraged by all the twists and turns and all the decisions you had to make, and your faith, and how everything came to bear. And I love it, man, and I love you.
I love you too,
And
brother.
not afraid to tell anybody that.
That's
You are
right.
my bro.
Right. God is good,
So
man.
yeah,
glad he
man.
brought us together.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna end the stream. I'll see you in the studio. Everybody else, I'll see you next week. You know what? Last week I wasn't on, but I feel like every week that I'm on, that I'm ending the stream, I'm like, I forgot who's coming up next. And you know what? I forgot who's coming up next. But just keep an eye out, because I'm gonna send something. I'll post something on LinkedIn, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.